Today, we have a very special guest with us, Ashish Airon, co-founder Cognitensor, an AI company. Today in the world of artificial intelligence and machine learning, let's understand from Ashish what are the various skills that are required for children to pursue a career in artificial intelligence. Hello, Ashish, and welcome to One Teacher, One Scientist chat room. From a master's degree in computer sciences from University of Oxford to being featured in the Forbes 30 under 30 Asia 2020. And today, Ashish, I just want to get your perspective on what are the key skills that children need to build at school level, to pursue a career in artificial intelligence and machine learning. These are the careers that are the big buzzword today for future. So children who are in school right now, what do you think would be the ideal skills that schools and parents can aim to instill in children so that they can pursue a career in AI?
Sure. So I think it's a very important question. And to give you a little background about the entire this segment of AI, how big it has become, there was a recent report by PwC telling they were talking about estimating approximately the market to grow with the size of 15.6 trillion by 2030. That sort of big numbers everyone is looking at. The entire segment that has grown so big and contributing local GDP, local economies will be contributing approximately 26%. So the entire landscape has become very big in AI, and it is likely to contribute a lot in terms of different jobs aspect. Coming back to your question, I think it becomes very important. I believe there are three key areas. The number one being definitely having a little background in maths will help. Although I will say it's not as such a compulsory requirement, but under the hood there are things happening which is it's AI at the end of the day is just pure maths. Ultimately AI is just sets of equations we are trying to solve and achieve the problem statement in different ways. Number two will be, I will definitely say coding. Coding is a very definitely coding is required, but what is happening in AI landscape, if I can share with you, is basically everything has become very modular. So even us as a data scientist, we don't code much because everything is sort of modularized. So just picking up the components, picking up the components and adding them up together, and then building a model or building a system which can solve the particular problem. Currently, the way the entire ecosystem of AI is changing is, I still remember not very long ago when I was in Oxford, we were building models, we were writing in C++. It still gives me nightmares. Very difficult to write in C++. Beginning of 2014 and 2015, Python was there, but for AI, different modules came into the picture. So it really helped the entire community to speed up the development process and deliver things. So it really helped. So Python sort of provided a layer on top of C++ where you can really work without going into details.
Yeah.
So it really helped in abstracting components which really matters and what really doesn't matter, and then speeding up the entire process of coding. So it really helps.
So somewhere, Ashish, you are implying that problem solving can be a very key element or a key skill that children should aspire for. Problem solving and logical thinking and computational skills. I think these three skills should pretty much cover these two key areas that you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. It is the requirement, and that is the way to solve any of the problems in AI. You need to have a logical problem-solving mindset.
Yeah.
That is the requirement, because there is no set standard or rules to solve a particular problem, because whenever anyone looks at the data, they look at the data from their perspective.
Yeah.
I could have 10 people sitting in a room and everyone will come up with a different sets of solutions. So
Right.
it becomes more important for students to have these sort of skill set to be able to understand how to solve a particular problem, because it really helps ultimately in
So
this
is
segment.
it's problem solving the third skill that you were going to say?
Yes, definitely. Problem solving was the key one. It always helps, and the entire segment of AI is also called analytics, so it helps to help an analytical mind. I will add a point here also in terms of the uh, problem solving skill set, definitely, but what is happening in the industry or the AI landscape is currently when we are solving a problem, there are two sets of roles which are required, as in a data scientist and a domain expert. Domain experts are the individuals, people who understand a particular domain. There is a gap between a data scientist solving the problem and someone understanding the segment where they are, let's say environmental science, healthcare. So moving forward, I definitely feel problem solving skill set needs to be very specific to the domain where people are building their skill. Maybe healthcare, maybe environmental science, maybe any of these segments. Because currently there is a gap, because all the people which are coming into the market, they are coming from a technology perspective. They have their skill set in technology, but the domain is not there. So
The domain
typically there
expertise.
is some, yes, the domain expertise, yes. So, but moving forward, these two roles I feel will gradually merge because we will have data scientists who are specific, who have the knowledge, both in terms of the segment, of the domain where they want to focus on, and the technology skills which they will learn over the period to solve the problem.
So, Ashish, do you think children need to then have a real world connect? Because only when they are connecting with the real world, they can actually understand real world problems, then can come up with real world solutions. Only then can that be applied into an AI sort of a setup.
Mhm. So it's a very interesting question, and I like to give a very brief story about one of my sessions at a school. So on behalf of Niti Aayog, as a mentor of change, I have few schools with me. So I was giving a session to, I think it was like 7th, 8th grade students, and it was a very interesting session. How it sort of rolled out, panned out. I started the session with asking a question. So how many are you aware? How many of the students are aware of AI? And you won't believe it. Everyone raised their hands. Everyone was aware. There was this robot who can automatically collect garbage. There are these machines which can understand you. There were a few students who have driven in Tesla. They were like, it can automatically drive. So it was all of these amazing experience, and everyone was very well aware of how AI, what AI is doing. They are able to see the application. To coming back to your question, it really helps them to connect what is happening, and they really can see some future into it, because they see it's a very exciting segment, and they really want to contribute. When I ask the question, what is the one application you want to see? The one unanimous answer, apart from being building a robot which can solve my entire thing, so I don't have to sit up. Apart from that, the unanimous answer was to have self-driving cars. Every one of them was very excited about having self-driving cars. So they don't have to drive. The car will just come. They will just sit and go wherever they want.
It is a thought that is going around that children should not be taught science and social studies in primary classes, primarily because it becomes an additional burden on them. But do you think not making children aware of scientific concepts and social concepts would actually hamper their perspective building and logical thinking?
Very crucial at students for in early age, in primary, to have these subjects with them. It really helps to build a better character, build perspective, give you a better overview of what is happening.
And also, I think problem solving skills, because if the child understands how, say, a bottle opener was made, or what was the problem and how it got solved with a simple machine. So, that is what will give them a perspective of how issues come up in our lives, and we need solutions for that. And this is how we can give them solutions.
Yes. And also it always keeps one curious and inquisitive. So they don't stop asking questions, and it's very important to never stop asking questions. That's how you build a character. That's how you learn different things, and these are the core subjects.
And somewhere I think automatically when they are applying things in their everyday life, mathematical and computational skills will get integrated.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
So doing away with subjects like science and social science in elementary schools may not just be a very great idea in the long run.
Yes, it will have definitely a huge impact. Everything revolves around solving any problem statement or doing any sort of work. What's the perspective you're bringing onto the table in corporate life, personal life, how you're able to think through any situation you're dealing with. It's really crucial. I think it's very important.
Do you think it is essential for children to be engaged in AI right from the beginning for a good career in AI, or is it that early childhood and up to middle school children should actually be engaging in logical thinking, computational skills, in problem solving skills? What would your opinion be on this? And building perspectives. I would say children should be spending on building perspectives, building strong skills in decoding problems, looking for viable and unviable solutions. Do you think that sort of a methodology would be more powerful than giving them sensors right in grade 5, 6 or younger, to kind of build a career in AI, build a successful career in AI?
So definitely the way I feel about this is it can be a mix of both strategy, but building perspective at early age is very important, very crucial. In terms of they will get aware initially, because all these through different medias, through movies, through cartoons, they will get to know about what is AI capabilities are. But that's I think pretty much good to know. But they need to build perspective from different areas, because ultimately, as I mentioned, it is all about where will you apply AI in, what is the domain you will apply in. You need to have a strong understanding. Yes. So you need to have a very strong AI itself as such. Standalone won't do much until and unless it's applied to a particular domain where your interest lies in.
From an awareness perspective, yes, children should be aware of what AI is and what is the strength and application of AI. But giving them AI sensors and giving them a direct feel of AI in middle school or primary school, do you think that is important?
I think it is a little too early. Too early, but definitely in sort of in exposure as a wide term, like in the wider terms, to have them know instead of them playing, but to make them understand what is happening around the world, what is technology doing, what is AI, how things are evolving, what are the applications, how people are using it. I think then it really helps them think, and when they are at the right state, then they can sort of pick the right tools and dive into it and solve the problem in any of them.
So I think the key takeaways from this chat of ours is that perhaps schools for at primary level and middle school level need to focus more on computational skills, mathematical skills, logical thinking, problem solving, critical thinking, and helping a child make a real world connect with the world around, so that he can discover his passion, so that he can
Yeah.
then work towards his domain expertise, and then maybe at a later stage, at their undergraduate level or their postgraduate level, they can get into AI in a deeper manner.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you 100% on it. That should be the right strategy, and definitely it helps. To build perspective. I again
Yeah,
putting
yeah. I think
stress on the
perspective
fact
building,
because
somewhere I think perspective building is something which is quite marginalized in our schools. I mean,
yes,
because do you find that as a challenge when you hire people? Do you feel perspective building is something that is somewhere lacking in our education system? Have you found that?
yes, yes. Who are coming into the job market? These are aspirational data scientists who were working in some other. So for them, I prefer those people much more than someone who has just learned AI from scratch and then trying to solve. Because these people have a better perspective in terms of what they have done into their previous jobs. They know how to tackle the problem, how to solve it, even though it's not anything particular to AI. But yes, they have a better perspective instead of a fresh graduate who had just been trained into technology. The way I look, the entire segment, the entire industry is traditionally also it has been, you focus on this one particular skill, you just do this and you keep getting, getting better at it. But at today's point in time, the job requirement or the skill set is you need to know multiple things. You have to be, like a Swiss knife. You
Yeah,
need to know multiple things. And then as a data scientist, the role involves from having a perspective in terms of understanding the domain, understanding the technology, ability to manage customers, so on and so forth. So there are 4 or 5 roles which has been put together. You need to be very good and let's say stats. 4 or 5 roles put together into one role. So that's how the new job market is evolving. Putting multiple things into a single role and then expecting to perform well. It's changing. It's very dynamic. It's very interesting times.
yeah, I'm sure it is. And I think the key takeaway for me is that children need to be we educators need to be looking at multiple intelligence, and we cannot just aimlessly keep running up after technology or after AI. We all need to understand that there are skills that are required, and I think somewhere a child needs to understand his passion right from the beginning and pursue it.
Correct.
So
Absolutely. It's very important.
yes, so I mean, thank you so much, Ashish, for being with us today and giving your deep insights into AI and machine learning. I'm sure many people would be interested in knowing what the world of AI is all about and how they can, inspire their children to take up a career which is the buzzword for the future. Thank you so much, Ashish.